No, I'm still not done. That said, it sounds like the music has stopped. So let's just see if we can't get something running there again. Music I can handle. This is starting to annoy me a little bit. Okay, let's go size of GL float here. Now GL float times 4 because that's the number of elements we have each time. Hmm. So in vaguely interesting news, I've been looking at this code, which has this bind v position, which is well, the equivalent of our vertex, to attribute 0. And then further down here, they do GL, no, not there. Here, vertex attribute pointer, they use 0, exactly. And then of course for the same here for enable vertex array. So I'm sort of wondering if the correct way is to say, okay, this is going to be 0 and then bind it. I think we're going to give that a go. So rather than doing this, we're just going to say GL int vertex not is going to be 0. That's just sort of the way it is. And then before we link this program, we are going to bind this a vertex to location 0. Try that out for a change. No difference. To be honest, I wasn't expecting that much of a difference. That's true. I haven't set up the viewport technically. I'm not entirely sure that's maybe necessary. Oh, what the hell? We might as well. So, GL viewport is from 0, 0, 2, 2, 4, 2, 2, 2. No, 5, 7, 6. That's the dimensions of the viewport. Didn't really do much. So I was really hoping that all of you guys were looking forward to a couple of hours of me trying to debug something that I have no idea what's going on with, because that is what you're getting today. Of course, any input is more than welcome. Maybe chat can figure this one out while I can't. I really don't like the idea of binding to a specific location. That feels wrong. So we're like in the world where we still need to do stuff like GL enable weird stuff. Oh, don't tell me I have to sort of GL enable all of this crap, because then I will slowly die. Hopefully that fails horribly. Yeah, that failed horribly. Thank God. So we grab the verses, that clear the color. Use. Have I? Oh, wait. Let's try, just for the hell of it, actually saying that I want to use this program. Hey, triangle! Yeah, it helps to use the actual shader program. So that's a good start. Now I think what we're going to do is we are going to factor the shader code out of this so that we can sort of have multiple shaders and just say use this shader and it will magically work. Sort of? Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe start a rendering loop? Yeah, rendering a loop sounds like a good plan. So this is sort of the main problem with not having any clue how stuff works. You kind of get these kind of stupid things every once in a while. But yeah, it only took 45 minutes to figure out or something like that, so that's not too bad, I guess. So for Emscripten, it kind of prefers that you do a callback-based approach to your render loop. Because that's kind of the way the web works. So it has this wonderful function I'm going to switch over to documentation so you guys can see this as well. Browser main loop. So we want to do an asynchronous main loop, which is this wonderful mscripten set main loop. So what we're going to do is that we are going to say, I'm sort of wondering, is this like it's actually a callback function, so it's a C-style function. So we are, oh dear. That means a lot of this state has to be global, which sounds really, really horrible. Execution lifestyle. Class main link call. Remove run dependency. So we need sort of this main loop function here, where I would really, really like to sort of say, this is the renderer. So what I think we're going to do is we are going to make nasty, nasty global pointers here. Because, yeah, I don't know really what else to do. These are just going to get a little prefix so that I can tell them apart. Now this thing has a simulate infinite loop, which I believe causes it not to... Oh. Okay, this is where we use C++. So this is going to be a standard unique pointer to an EGL display. Because I do not want to have to worry about lifetimes of this. That will just make my life miserable. So we're going to do it this way. Then at this point, we are going to create it by saying standard make unique EGL display. And I can apparently not spell to EGL, which you'd think EGL was somewhat easy to spell, but nope. And same for the renderer, we're gonna make a unique pointer. So for those not really in the know, C++, it requires a lot of manual memory allocation and handling. So the unique pointer is sort of it's not a reference count, it's sort of this resource acquisition is initialization thing, where when you construct the object, it acquires an instance of it, and then it holds onto that pointer. And then once that object goes out of scope, it will then also automatically free that object again. So as long as it exists in scope, it's available, and as soon as it goes out of scope and nothing can access it anymore, it'll get deleted. There's no reference pointing or anything weird like that. You can't copy a unique object, but it will keep existing, which is kind of what we need here. So we're going to ask mscripten here, and most likely I'm going to guess that Sea Lion is going to get slightly confused by this. So we'd like to call the main loop function here. Then we need to give it an... Hey, you're actually suggesting me where to import it from. I'm slightly impressed. I was not expecting it to be able to pick up that, which is always fun. So, FPS is the number of frames per second that the JavaScript will call the function. Setting it less than or equal to 0 is recommended. Uses the browser's request animation frame. So keep it at 0, we'll get the optimal request refresh rate. And I don't need to simulate an infinite loop because I have already taken care of things being set up correctly. So with that done, we should be able to compile. Great. So on every loop, we want to make our display current so that we have the correct WebGL context running. And then we want to ask our renderer to make a render pass. Let's see how that goes. Well, it's definitely writing it out a couple of times that it's rendering. So I'm going for it. It seems to work. Let's see if we can get the time from the last loop. Okay. So we have an mscripten get now, which returns a double in milliseconds. Do I want to deal with a double? Not really. So we're going to save the time of the sort of last tick. So before we set this up, we set last tick to be mscripten now. And then whenever we go in here, we grab, first of all, we grab the time now. Then we calculate a delta, which is sort of time changed, which is now minus now. Oh my god, I cannot write today. Minus last tick. And then we update the last tick to be now, and just to sort of symmetry, do that as the last thing. And then I think we're going to pass the delta time to the renderer. At least for now. At some point, most likely we won't. Because instead, there'll be a separate sort of world that needs to get updated, which we'll pass the delta to. Which will then update everything, all the data structures, and then the renderer will just render that. But for now, that's what I want to do. So with any luck, I should be able to print out that delta as well. And we have 2 arguments to a function call. Because I am an idiot. I need to declare that we take that parameter as well. Let's try again. Much better. But we're now getting timings as well. And it looks about right. If I was a little bit sneaky, I would do something like, where the hell is it? There we go. If I did something like 1000 divided by the delta, should print us sort of the instantaneous frame rate. So instantaneous frame rate is somewhere around 60. Give or take a bit. So that's cool. How about we create a world, maybe? Maybe? That, or we create a renderer. We have this load shader. Now we're gonna create a couple of wonderful little classes, I think. Actually, you know what? I can see we're coming up on an hour and a half. I think we're gonna take 10 minutes of break at this point. So, yeah, 10 minutes of break, and I'll see you back in a bit.